Hello and welcome to another Imperator Rome video. This one I believe might be a little bit controversial, but I think my suggestions would make for a more interesting game. Now, as the title suggests, there is a problem with Megacities, but maybe not everyone is aware of what these are, so I guess I should explain that first. A megacity, in Imperator terms, is quite simply a single territory with a massive population. There's no specific requirement on the number of pops necessary for one to be classified as a megacity, but quite often when I see them, they can have more pops than entire countries. So the first example of a megacity that I saw was posted on the forum by Riemann back in July 2019. He managed to put over 6,000 pops in Carthago, something that has been absolutely crushed now. That's not the most I've seen. But when this was shown to the devs, they had some quite interesting comments on it, but we'll get back to that in just a little bit. Why would you want to create a megacity? What advantages does it have over building quote-unquote normally, with perhaps a city per province spread out amongst your empire? Well, for starters, it is by far the most efficient use of buildings. When you construct an academy, of course, it only applies its research bonus effect to the citizens in that specific city. Same with training grounds for freemen. So if you can stack as many pops as you possibly can into that one territory, the value of those academies and training grounds shoots up significantly. Taken to its extreme, a megacity can be worth as much on its own as a country with equivalent pops to it. So it's a little bit broken overpowered. Originally, when I saw these megacities, I thought they were quite cool and perhaps even a fun way to play. Playing tall has been something that Paradox games have always struggled with, but it seemed like with this new playstyle, tall was finally going to be on par with wide. However, this isn't the case, and that's kind of due to how these megacities are created. There are two main ways that I've seen it done. The first is for a migratory tribe to go as wide as possible, then migrate all of those pops into the capital. That's what Yamnat did in my second community multiplayer game. The other way is to use the migration system. As a product of building so many aqueducts in your capital to support such a huge population, the migration attraction would be incredibly high. Couple this with harsh treatment on every other province and you'll see a swarm of pops fleeing their homes for a better life. Now, why don't I like this? For one, I find it incredibly one-dimensional. Instead of having a population spread out amongst your empire, maybe with a dedicated manpower province and a dedicated research province, etc., what you end up with is 99% of your country being reduced to meat to feed the machine that is the 1%, your capital. It's also incredibly ahistoric. The largest city in this time period was Rome, who reached 1 million people in 1 AD, CE, whatever you prefer. This milestone was not replicated until London did it during the Industrial Revolution. And Rome had problems. They had an incredibly difficult time feeding that many people. The squalor was awful, the noise was so bad people had insomnia, disease was rife, fire was a constant worry. Rome just could not sustain itself. It had more people dying every day than it had people being born. The sustenance for the city came purely through immigration. And now you may say, but Lambert, it's immigration that is making these megacities. Yeah, it is. But there are none of the drawbacks that made them awful places to live. None of the drawbacks that kept the population relatively in check. Megacities in-game have the benefit both of the population growth and immigration. A bit of a double whammy. The only downside of a megacity is the risk. If you put all of your eggs in one basket, your enemies can target your basket and set it on fire. Especially in the Mediterranean, you have megapolyremes that can blow down your fortifications, provided your megacity is on a port, and why wouldn't it be when it's pop migration? They can siege your city and kill or capture ungodly amounts of pops. I don't, however, think that's remotely good enough as a deterrent, and in single player, it's not a deterrent at all. So what would you want to do about it, I hear some of you say, and the others are saying I'm stupid for not liking megacities. Well, let's go back to that Slack message from before. Fire. It's a start. Fire should be a major problem when you're building so densely. Fire was a major problem for the Romans, to the point where the city of marble image that we all have when we picture Rome only came about because a great fire tore through the city, destroying about 70% of it. Fire should be a constant worry for the player, and they should have to manage it. Constructing and paying upkeep for fire departments, yes, they did exist, to reduce the chances of fire and reduce the severity of the damage should one break out. Fires would both kill pops and destroy buildings when they break out, and if left untended, either by too little fire protection or not at all, it can leave your megacity a smouldering ruin. But that is not all. Disease and plague would also be a big worry for the time. Diseases should sort of be a soft limit on the size of a population, periodically sparking up and killing pops as some new infection rages through your pops. How very topical. This could be mitigated in a few ways, of course. Through the obvious answer of aqueducts, I would shy away from, as these are necessary for the building of a megacity in the first place, and it would make the system incredibly redundant. For buildings, public baths could be constructed, giving a small happiness boost to citizens and freemen, and a nerf to the chances of a disease spreading. Perhaps also a sewage system could be implemented, using the new provincial decisions added with the Archimedes patch. And if any city grows to be a metropolis, you could get a decision that would construct a sewage system in your city for a substantial amount of gold. Again, just like fires, I don't think this should completely cut out the danger of disease, and these, despite your best efforts, would still affect you if you insist on building a megacity. These disease mechanics can be expanded on at a later date in a Reaper's Due style way, with disease outbreaks turning into full-on plagues if left unchecked. I don't want to remove the playstyle entirely. I merely wish to make it interesting. I wish it to be a little bit more variety added. I wish to have a bit of danger to it, and I wish to add a bit of historical authenticity to it as well. All things that are sorely lacking right now. That's it. That's my suggestion for Megacities. It's why I don't like them, and it's what I would do to make them a little bit more interesting, because right now, they're just not. Thanks all for watching. Bye-bye.